When I say the word entrepreneur, what's the first thing you picture? Is it some tech billionaire on the cover of a magazine? Or maybe it's that person in your town who started that awesome little business from scratch. We have all these images in our heads, but how much of what we think we know is actually true, and how much is just, well, a myth? So seriously, who do you see? Go ahead, get a clear picture of them in your mind. Hold on to that image, because today we're going to take that picture, we're going to shake it up a bit, and really see what's going on behind the scenes.
Is this who you saw? The lone genius in a garage or a lab, having that big eureka moment? The person who comes up with something the world has never ever seen before? It's a classic image for sure.
Or, hey, maybe it was this person, the one who just throws caution to the wind, right? They bet everything they have on one single idea, kind of crossing their fingers and hoping for a huge dose of luck. The ultimate high-stakes player.
And what about this one? This idea that entrepreneurs are just wired differently, as if they were born with some special gene, this magical quality that the rest of us are, just missing.
Okay, so these are the big, powerful myths that we're always told about entrepreneurship. And look, they make for great stories, but they often get in the way of the truth. So let's peel back the layers and bust these myths one by one.
All right, let's tackle the big one first. Born, not made. The reality? It's just not true. What we know now is that entrepreneurship is a discipline. It's a way of thinking, it's a set of skills that can absolutely be taught, learned, and honed over time. Nope, no special DNA required.
And what about that gambler stereotype? Well, the truth is, successful entrepreneurs aren't just rolling the dice. They don't run away from risk, but they don't blindly run into it either. They are masters of managing risk. They use strategy and information to turn what looks like a crazy gamble into a very calculated opportunity.
And the myth of the brilliant inventor? Look, while some entrepreneurs are inventors, so many of the most successful people out there aren't. Instead, they're innovators. They take something that already exists, a product, a service, and they find a creative way to make it way better, faster, or easier for people to use. Innovation is often more powerful than pure invention.
And finally, this idea that it's all about the money. Now, of course, money is important, right? It fuels the business, it keeps the lights on. But for most true entrepreneurs, money is the result, not the reason. It's a tool. It's almost never the deepest driving force. So, what is?
And that question brings us to the real heart of all of this. If it's not about being born special or being a gambler or being greedy, then what is the true engine that drives entrepreneurship? Let's get into the real driving force.
So if the secret sauce isn't being a genius, or a reckless gambler, or some money-hungry caricature, then what on earth is it? The answer is something far more human, and honestly, way more powerful. It all comes down to one single thing. Motivation. That's it. It's that fire in your gut, That force that pushes someone not just to have an idea, but to actually do something about it, to execute on it and see it through no matter how tough it gets. This is the real common thread.
But here's the thing, not all motivation is created equal. We can basically split it into two big buckets, the rewards that come from the outside world and the rewards that come from deep inside of us. So on one side, you've got extrinsic motivation. This is all about the external stuff you can get, like wealth, power, and status. And on the other side, you have intrinsic motivation. This is all about the internal payoff, that feeling of personal satisfaction, a sense of meaning, or just following a deep passion. Now, extrinsic motivators are powerful, and they're pretty easy to understand. We're talking about wanting financial wealth for sure. There's also that drive to be your own boss, to have control, or the dream of having flexibility and freedom, breaking away from the 9-to-5. And yeah, for some, it's about building a legacy that outlasts them. And those are all totally valid reasons. But when you look at the entrepreneurs who seem to have this endless well of energy, the ones who get back up after every single failure, you almost always find they're being fueled by something much, much deeper. I mean, just listen to this quote from Steve Jobs. He totally got it. He knew that if you're going to pour your life into something, you have to find real satisfaction in the work itself. You have to believe it's great work, totally separate from the paycheck. And that right there, that is the essence of intrinsic motivation. It's that hunt for deep, personal satisfaction that comes from making something you are genuinely proud of. That's a feeling you can't buy. You have to earn it. The marketing visionary Guy Kawasaki pushed this idea even further. He basically said, the main question shouldn't be, how do I make money? It should be, how do I create meaning? How does the thing you're building actually benefit people? How does it make someone's life better? And this is that other incredibly powerful piece of intrinsic motivation, the raw desire to make a real impact. It's about looking beyond yourself and wanting to contribute to something bigger.
I mean, just think about Bill Gates. Yes, he became one of the richest people in history, we all know that. But his original mission, the thing he said he wanted to do, it was just audacious. It wasn't about personal wealth, it was this massive vision to change society. Now that is a why that can pull you through decades of hard work.
So, we've torn down the myths, we've looked at the real engines that drive success, and all of this brings the focus away from these famous people and puts it right back on you.
And that really brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. Being an entrepreneur isn't about fitting some kind of stereotype or having a specific personality type. It's not about who you are, it's about being deeply, deeply connected to why you're doing it. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question. It doesn't matter if you want to start a global tech company or the best little coffee shop on your street. The single most important question you can ever answer is this one. Forget the myths. Forget what you think an entrepreneur is supposed to look like. What is your why?